Okay, so really simple question for you. Are you coming to the StoryPower retreat? It's August 4th through the 8th. We're actually paying for your room. We're paying for your food. We're encouraging and inviting you to be a part of the StoryPower Academy's 4-day retreat. Now, here's what the retreat is all about. For the last many years, almost 15 years, we've done the StoryPower Masterclass. Almost every time we've done it, it's been a 1-day, 6-hour, super intensive, very emotionally charged encounter. And it's been an encounter that basically everybody in the room gets to the front of the room one time. They tell their story, and then I coach them on their story, and then I spend the rest of the 6 hours teaching and training. Now, if you've ever been in an environment like that, you walk out at the end of the day with a whole lot of new information and a whole lot of emotional charge and a whole lot of questions that you don't get time to get answered. So the purpose of the retreat is twofold. The first of which is we want to create more opportunities for everyone who attends to get to the front of the room, to get on stage, to get in front of a camera, to really get the pressure put on them about the story they tell. Why did they choose that story? What part of that story is important? What part of that story should they leave out? Which other stories do they need to include? How do those stories fit together? What do they do to present or promote my company, my business, my product, my book, my sales, my coaching? That's a whole lot of questions. It's really hard to answer all of those questions for each individual in one 6-hour day. So the StoryPower Masterclass is being expanded to the StoryPower Retreat for the purpose of getting those questions answered for everyone who attends. Secondly, though, what we really want to do is help people understand that story isn't just a script that you make up. Scripts are for actors. And a whole lot of people make up a script. They throw it on their nice little presenter so that they can read it from the screen. Maybe they've even got the fancy little teleprompter where they can actually read it and look right into the lens, and you feel like every word they say is so sincere. And yet it's made up and edited and published, and maybe even, perhaps even, the story itself was made up by AI. It happens. I know, because I have a coaching client that we've been working through her next phase, and part of that includes a book. And she sent me one of the chapters as I was editing through the stories that we've worked on together. I came across the story and I was like, hey, I don't remember ever hearing the story from you. And she's like, wait, I never told anybody that story. In fact, all the elements of it are good, but it's not a true story for me. I've never lived through that moment. I don't know what that's about. I said, so if I was fascinated by the story and then started asking you questions, you couldn't back up those questions. She's like, no, I don't know anything about the event. I don't know anything about the moment. I don't know anything about those people. See, when we go through the StoryPower Retreat, we ask questions like, why did you choose that story? And then, is it true? And how did that actual moment bring your emotions to the surface? And what does that mean for other, let me say it like this. Dr. Phil would say, how does that make you feel? That's a really important question, because how that moment made you feel when you relive the story, not narrate it, but when you relive that story, if you're healed from it, that story brings life to others. If you're not healed from it, retelling that story might re-traumatize you and everybody who hears it. If you found healing and you found hope and you found a solution, you found a better way to live because of the moment you lived through, that's what everybody gets out of it. They hear it and they think, wow, that same thing happened to me. I went through the same thing. How can I find a solution? And you become their solution. And yes, that's what the StoryPower Retreat is all about. It's discovering those stories that say, this is not just what I want to do, but this is why. This is who I help and how. And what relevant stories in my life should I tell to let them know that I care about them, that I can help them, that I have a solution that's of value to them. That's what you'll walk away with at the end of the StoryPower Retreat. But let me add a bonus, a little icing on the cake. We've got a few little tricks up our sleeve that I'm not going to tell everybody because I don't want everybody to steal my ideas. But we have some technologies and some opportunities. And if I were to spin this camera around, you could see our studio right here in Granbury, Texas. And you just might have access to that if you're a member of this retreat. We're also working on some extra things that I'm not even going to say here. But if you're part of the retreat, you're really going to love them. Still working on them. We'll let you know as they come. But you got to get registered for the retreat. The other thing I want you to really know, this is another icing on the cake, is that the people who come to this retreat, who really master the art of story power, not just storytelling. A lot of people can tell stories, but the power of stories, what I call story power, is both sides of that blade. Those people who master that become completely different kinds of people in leadership, in influence, in persuasion, in the marketplace, and in this small group of people. Listen, the table that we'll be doing our training at is the dining table in the Iron Horse Inn right here in Granbury, Texas. That table seats 14. Not 22, not 16, 14. After we get to 14, it's standing room only. The inn only has 8 rooms. Each room only sleeps 2 people because it has a king bed. So don't be signing up with somebody that you want to split the cost with if you don't want to sleep in the same bed with them. Maybe a spouse, maybe a bestie, but not just any random stranger. But if you want to be a part of that, you need to send me a private message. I'm not putting the link on here. Because there's only room for 14 people, because there's only 8 rooms in this inn, there's only 2 suites. If you want a suite, you need to sign up. Oh, there's only one left. Sorry, one of those is already booked. There's only 1 suite left. There's only 6 other rooms left. If you want to be a part of this retreat, you need to send me a message. You go, hey, I want to be a part of this retreat. If you need a payment plan, we'll work that out. If you need a discount, we'll find an excuse to find a discount that meets your budget if it's possible. But if you want to be here, I want to make a way for you to be here. If you want to change the stories that you tell in your head and from your mouth, you need to be a part of the StoryPower retreat. If you want to change the influence that you have in people's lives because you can reach out to them with a new story that you've never told before, and you could tell it at a gas pump, you could tell it in the grocery store line, you could build it into a 45-minute keynote, you could write it into a book. If you want to master stories like that, if you want to live through a moment that you've never experienced before and walk out on the other side of that brand new moment and go, I have a story to tell and it's going to change lives. That's the skill set I want to teach you. I want to teach you not just how to recount, regurgitate, memorize a story, but I want to teach you how to craft one from scratch, from something you've never experienced before. That's what I want you to walk away with. And I want you to be here at StoryPower Retreat. It's right here in Granbury, Texas. All you've got to do is get to Granbury. We're going to pay for your room. We're going to pay for your food. All you've got to do is get to Granbury, Texas, August 4 through 8. If you can do that, you're going to walk away a changed person. I'm pretty confident of that. And you're going to walk away empowered in a way that you've never experienced before in your life. If that's of interest to you, you need to send me a private message and say, where's the link and how do I get signed up? And we'll make that happen. I'm J. Loren Norris with StoryPower Academy and the StoryPower Retreat.